Okay, we're going to try this one more time. One more time. Uh, I don't know what happened. I don't know what the frack. I was just trying some stuff. But here's the thing. I'm going to start all the way over. I'm worked up, so I'm a little out of sorts. So, again, thank you, Faith Family and Football, for letting me know that I was echoing. Here's the thing. So, Israel, half of from the bottom of the map, him and Ike doing great things, great things. Uh, had a video come out earlier. All right. And it was sorry, Canes fans, but enough is enough. That was his title of his video. Came out earlier. And I want to say again, without the echoes, hopefully no echoes. But thank you for the kind words, sir, as far as the rise of the fall goes. Thank you so much. That was very nice of you. Hopefully like I said, hopefully everything's coming in good. Kind of a spur of the moment, shoot from the hip. But in the video, basically, in a nutshell, Mr. Israel is frustrated with the current events of Miami football. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. I think we all are frustrated. And the thing is, he was talking about, how much more do you take before you go to another team? Well, the thing is, if that's what you want to do your thing. I'm not mad. I'm not judging. I'm not, trying to it is what it is. And I'm just telling you right now, the other day, Sunday night, we did the Rise of the Fall, episode 21. And we discussed the 2024 season, this past season. And the reason for this impromptu live, I thought about doing a patio perspective on this, but I'm like, nah, dude, we're going full-fledged. Let's back up to Sunday night, shall we? I did the Rise of the Fall, episode 21. We discussed 2024. Okay, we have established that for the second time. And when I was through with that, Monday morning, I woke up and I was trying to remember the title of a video that I had watched, and it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. The title is The U Reloaded Rise for 5. I mean, I had watched it years ago, but it basically went from like the 95, 96, 97 onward. And I talked about this before, but with the Rise of the Fall series, going back and looking at all these seasons, okay, and going back from 2004 till now, and reliving all of that, all that football and all that experience and all those seasons, it basically rekindled the frustration and the discontent that I've had for the way Miami football has gone in the last 2 decades. Well, yesterday morning, like I said, I watched that You Reloaded, The Rise for Five again, and again it was talking about the 96, 97, 98, and I was there. I mean, I wasn't there. I was 1,000 miles away. But what's up, Cuban? And it just added gas to the fire, you know. And I busted out my jersey to show you this. Oh, look out. You know, everybody and their brother on YouTube has these brand new jerseys. But I busted this out. I found this. Oh, let me turn it around. And I don't want to get too involved because I'm going to have a show about this, because I'm telling you, it's about to get real. South Coast is about to go off. All right. But I found my old jersey. It's actually a game-worn jersey. I got it back in 98, I believe it is, 98. And if I did my research correctly, that was number 97. That was Mr. Michael Lawson. You know who pissed me off, Cuban? Is this Hurricane football program. But anyway, I found my jersey. I've had that since, shoot, must be 99, 98. I think it's a 96, 97 jersey. The university, the athletic department were selling them back in 99, I believe it was, and I picked it up back in 99. But anyway, the fact of the matter is, Monday morning I had watched that You Reloaded. It just, like I said, it fanned the flames that was already burning because of the rise of the fall. And then when I hear Mr. Israel on his latest video, I'm like, you know, it's crazy how things happen. It's crazy how the universe works. But, yeah, I had sat there yesterday, and I thought about it. And I was really trying to control my emotions, so to speak. But I kept thinking about, and most of you cats won't, I mean, you real, true, diehard, self-proclaimed Miami Hurricanes football fans won't understand this. But back in 96, 97, it was tough sledding. It was not good for the University of Miami. Now, you can sit there and watch the U 30 for 30, and you can watch the U2 30 for 30, and, you know, but I went through it. And I started thinking, those guys, oh, that 96, 97, 98 team, 99, they, yeah, exactly, Cuban. But we're going to remind them. 97 was a bad year. Sanctions, etc. And the thing that I started thinking about was between 96 and 99, what's up, Norman? No. Don't apologize, Norm. Don't apologize. That's what we're here for. We have difference of opinion. Everybody's welcome. All right? Everybody has their point of view. But anyway, I was sitting there thinking, and I'm like, damn, these cats in the late 90s did more in those 4 or 5 seasons to bring the University of Miami football team back to where it needs to be than what's happened. They did more in those 3, 4, 5 seasons than what we've seen in the last 20 years. All right. And there was, back in the late 90s, there was no NIL, no weight room facility upgrades. You had Mr. Tommy Moffitt. Shout out to Cuban for reminding me of that the other night. You had Tommy Moffitt out there, had them young men working their ass off. You had a coaching staff that just stayed on it. Again, no NIL. There are no luxuries that the 2025 Hurricane football team is enjoying right now. And as I was sitting there yesterday morning, I'm like, exactly, Cuban. I'm thinking I'm not an angry person. Okay, I've learned that anger will just eat you up and destroy you. So I'm not an angry person, but when those flames of malcontent are flamed, and it's and I have this avenue, this YouTube channel where I'm not getting paid, I'm not endorsed, I don't have, it's just me with this microphone, this camera, and hope like hell I get it right the first time. And I have you find folks that decide, hey, I'm going to listen to this old bastard. But, after remembering and all those memories that I've kind of just packed away and just disregarded, and I guess I was in denial. But that, and then Israel comes on. And God bless Israel. He was honest. I know people are going to give him flack about, being a Notre Dame fan back in the day and this and that, but you got to give the young man credit for coming out and being honest. I've been following this university for over 45 years now. Does that make me makes me a better fan? No. Does it make me somebody who can look down my nose at all these new Hurricane fans? No. What it does is allows me to help people understand how bad things are right now. And what I mean is, again, I go back to the late 90s. Okay? And if you know your Miami Hurricane history, and I know people are going to be like, oh, here we go. We got another Miami fan living in the past, bringing up old stuff that don't matter. Well, let me tell you something. You know what? No. Because here's the thing. I'm probably going to have a live show. It may be tomorrow night. It may be Thursday night. But we're going to have a live show. And this is like an impromptu. It's all going to be laid out on the line. And what I mean is, all this crap that's been going on for 20 years, 21 years, it's going to be called for what it is. Okay? I know a lot of fine folks are all in Mario's corner. That's cool. That's fine. If you want to root for a player, if you want to root for a coach, that's fine. I'm not here to insult you as a person for that. Okay? No, I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is, excuse me. What I'm saying is, all this that's been going on for 20 years, all this stuff that we've been talking about in the rise of the fall, it's all BS. Because, and again, I don't know what Nevin talks about all the stuff he did to bring Miami back. Whatever. I don't care. The fact of the matter is, what happened in the late 90s to transform, okay, to what transformed in the late 90s to produce what happened in the 2001 series, it is what it is. But now, here we are. Yeah, you're right, Norman. You're right. You're right. But now, here we are in 2025. Okay. And when I say Mario, I'm basically referring to the head coach. The head coach of Miami right now he don't have near the obstacles that Butch had. Like Cuban said, we got an indoor facility. You have NIL. You have all these luxuries that the late 90s Miami Hurricanes did not have. But yet that late 90s Miami Hurricanes team did more in 4 to 5 seasons than this program has done in 20 plus years, 21 years. Okay? And Mario's been there. This is his 4th year, right? Right. Do you realize the difference between what Butch had in his 3rd, 4th year versus what Mario had in his 3rd, 4th year? Again, this is not, I'm just saying apples to apples. That's all I'm saying. So here's the whole thing about this. Israel, I'm not trying to walk you from the ledge. I'm not trying to keep you from leaving the Hurricane fan base. You're a grown man. You live your life the way you see fit. You do what you got to do. Okay? If you decide to step away from the Hurricane fan base, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you as a person on that. You seem like a very intelligent young man. You and Ike, y'all have got to be a hoot to hang around. But look, to Israel, I understand your frustration. Okay? But, you got to do what you got to do. And if you, like I said, if you do step away from the Hurricane fan base, that's fine. I understand you had the Notre Dame love as a child. That's cool. This is you're still a good guy in my book. I don't care who you root for. Because one thing I try to surround myself with people that are good people. I know with this YouTube, virtual, whatever, you really don't know, but you know. And I'm not going to sit there and not like somebody because of athletic affiliation. Okay. I may not understand it, may not agree with it, but still. Anyway, yeah. I don't want to get too involved, but I'm really trying to keep the mild-mannered reporter attitude, okay? But I made the mistake. I fell into the trap where with all this Rise of the Fall, and then I watched the U Reloaded, and it like I said, it just fanned the flames, and it got me thinking. I busted out my old jersey from the late 1900s. But we'll discuss that. We'll discuss that. And I'm telling y'all right now, I'm giving you the warning shot over the bow. What's going to transpire has nothing to do with Mario as the person. Okay? I am not a fanboy of players. I'm not a fanboy of coaches. All right. All I see is the head coach and the coaching staff is not doing what they should. And it just happens to be Mario right now. Okay? Just happens to be. So before anybody gets it, because I know a lot of y'all like Mario, and that's fine. That's fine. That is your decision. I'm not going to judge you on it. Okay? But I just want to let you know where I'm coming from this upcoming season, because this is year 4 for the current head coach, who happens to be Mario. And I'm telling you right now, as of right now, with this new head coach, or I should say head coach that we've had for 3 seasons, who just happens to be Mario, the way things have transpired since 2022, I don't understand it. It's not successful. It's not successful. Now, maybe things will turn around this 2025 season. I don't know yet. We'll find out. Now, if you would like to give me reasons why Mario has done whatever, that's fine. That's cool. I encourage you. But I don't look at it as Mario. I look at it as the head coach who happens to be Mario. And I said it the other night, and I'll continue to say it. What did 10 wins and 2 losses get you? It got you the same thing as 6-6. Yes, Miami won 10 games. That was their best win total in since what, 2017. Everybody's excited over the win total. And that's fine. That's fine. If you want to be superficial and stay on the surface, that's fine. But me, nah, dude. We just talked about it the other night. You take Cam out the equation, but Cam was there. Okay, we can't deny that. Cam was there. Miami went 10-2 in the regular season. Did not even make the ACC championship. Went to a bowl game. Played Iowa State. So again, 10-2. Yay, we won 10 games. But it got you the same thing as 6-6. Now, are things moving up in trajectory? We'll find out August 31st. We'll find out. But I'm at the point now. I'm at the point where if this Miami Hurricanes football team in 2025 does not make it to the ACC championship game, after 4 years of this current head coach, who happens to be Mario, there needs to be conversations. Straight up. And, it's just my opinion. All right. I have a computer. I have internet access. I have a camera. So I'm going to click on it, and here we are. I'm going to give you my opinions. Now, like I said, it's probably going to piss a lot of people off, but I'm at the point where I really don't care. I don't care. Okay, I've been there for the good times. I've been there for the dark ages, and I've been there for the good times again. All right. I don't have the magic formula, but yeah, it's gonna be a very. I'm going to be very critical this upcoming 25 season. I'm not going to do like these other. Screw it. Who cares? Let's get the party started. I'm not going to be like the CCC and have my brand new Caneswear Miami Athletic Department brand new 2025 jersey, Cam Ward. No. I'm going to have my jersey that was worn in 97 by Michael Lawson. I'm going to wear that jersey. Okay? And the reason why I wear that is to remind myself and to honor those young men that did what they did in the late 90s to bring Miami back, in which they won the 01 championship. That's what I'm going to start doing. Okay? I'm not trying to show off my Hurricane fandom gear that so many people have. If you notice, it's getting raucous up in here, boy. If you notice, most of the CCC, oh yeah, I said it. Most of the CCC has their little bookshelves with all their little Miami Mirror memorabilia from the 80s and 90s to show, hey, I've been a Hurricane fan. This sit here, this stuff behind me on the bookshelf justifies that I'm a real, true Miami Hurricane fan. Okay? I got stuff. Okay, I got things. I could put the bookcase. I could put a bookcase up. I could put my stuff up. We could have a pissing contest. Okay? But no, I just got plain Jane gray curtains back there. I don't need to prove my Hurricane fandom, and I'm not going to. But I will wear that jersey. I will wear this jersey. The old Big East, number 97, Michael Lawson, defensive lineman. I'm going to wear it. And that's what I'm going to do. To show my appreciation to those young men. John Kennedy, what's up? To show my appreciation to those young men in the late 90s for what they did. All right. Now, this is going to sound crazy, but if anybody knows Mr. Michael Lawson, I got his jersey. It's in very good condition, you know. But it's being taken care of, and I honor and cherish it. And I don't wear it, like I said, I don't wear it to prove my Miami fandom worth. Okay? I don't care if you think I'm not a real fan or not. I don't care. Okay? But that's how we're going to roll here. So anyway, yeah. It's really going to be serious. I'm tired of playing games. I'm getting too old for this crap. Okay? But it's going to be good. It's going to be good. But I wanted to come on here and let Israel know, again, thank you for the kind words. I like them orange shades. Those are pretty cool. But, you know, whatever you do, Israel, whatever you and Ike do on your channel from the bottom of the map, y'all do what y'all think is right. You got my support. You got my love. You got my understanding. So, anyway, that is what it is. I don't know. I may do something tomorrow night. May do something Thursday night. Just kind of let you know what's happening. Again, Norman, yes, 10 wins in 2017 didn't result in anything. They got to the ACC championship for the second time, unofficially. Officially, the first time they got, because remember back in 2013, they had self-imposed and didn't go. And the problem is, well, I'm not going to get into it. The problem is, I don't care about the wins. I don't care if they get 5 wins, 6 wins, 10 wins, 12. I don't care. Miami has been in the ACC since 2004 and has only won the Coastal, other than the whole thing, which last year was the first year they put everybody together, and also 2020 was the last year they put everybody all together, I believe. But other than that, Miami has only won the weak-ass Coastal twice. One time they self-imposed and didn't go. And me personally, I have a problem with that. Yeah, 7 wins and won the Coastal. But here's my thing. Miami joined the ACC in 2004. And I was told, oh, Miami's going to the ACC. They'll dominate, just like Florida State. Israel, I was just talking about you. That's right. I was talking about you. But, I mean, come on, people. Enough's enough. Enough is enough. Don't give me this bullshit about these 5-star recruits are visiting Miami this weekend, next weekend, or Miami has signed this 3-star offensive lineman, whatever. No, don't give me that shit. Give me results on the playing field on game day. The game day field is the ultimate dictator and evaluator of talent. And I said it last year after episode 20, and I'm going to say it again. The reason, in my opinion, this is my opinion, the reason why Miami has not been successful in the last 20, 21 years is piss poor game day game planning. Straight up. Coker the Choker got lucky because he out-talented everybody. You know? And I'm, you know, with I guess in a nutshell, I'm just tired of hearing, oh, you're right, Cuban. Strength and conditioning works into play too. Look, there are no wrong answers. Okay? Yeah, strength and conditioning. I will not disagree with that. I will not debate that. Israel, I know you're late to the party, but I'm showing off my jersey. I'll be wearing that in honor of the late 90s team and what they did to bring Miami back, which seems to be something that the University of Miami football department does not know anything about. And it's like they keep throwing money at the problem, but I don't know. I probably shouldn't. I shouldn't have watched that You Reloaded Rise for 5 because it's got me back in that mindset, y'all. Y'all just don't know. Y'all just don't know how I was, but I think y'all about to find out. You know, and again, if it upsets people, if it makes you go climb into your safe space, well, that's your business. I'm going to give my opinion. And I just, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yes. Yes, Israel. It's just, like I said it the other night. I believe I said it, that it would be different if you had these young men out there playing the best they could, not making any mental or physical mistake or mental mistakes. Physical mistakes you can't help, but mental mistakes, playing sound mental fundamental football. Okay, if you just get overpowered by a team and you've played the best game fundamentally that you could, it's one thing. But unfortunately, a lot of people want to sit there. I know I'm gonna probably rehash this in a couple of nights, but you know, a lot of folks out there on the intranets are saying that it's a different time. These players are different. You have the NIL, you know. But my rebuttal to that is it's still football. You still have 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense. You're still playing on a 100-yard by 50-yard wide field. Touchdown, still 6 points. Field goal 3, extra point 1, unless you go for 2, and then it's 2. Personal foul still gets you 15. So, I mean, yeah, the thing with the players has changed as far as they're getting paid, they have agents, they're doing the NIL deal. That's fine. But it's still the game of football in which you, the team that you choose to root for, has to outscore the opposing team. That's basically it. And I'm really, this is not what I intended this show to be, but hell, we're 40 minutes in and I'm deep. You know, all this, it's, I'm tired of all the excuses. I'm tired of let's accentuate the recruiting. Let's accentuate the transfer portal incoming people. Let's pull the Wizard of Oz. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Okay? Let's continue to push the narrative of recruits and transfer portal people and all that in order to hide the fact that since 2022, 2023, and 2024, Miami has lost 27 out of 66 high school recruits. 41%. 4 out of 10 high school recruits that came to Miami between 22 and 24 have left. And you wonder why they keep talking about we're building depth. We're building depth. Why are you building depth? Because all these cats you brought in as high school recruits are leaving. Why are they leaving? I don't know. Did you promise the sun and the moon? And you gave them moldy cheese and moldy milk? I don't know. You know, yes, I understand. It's the new day and age of NCAA football with NIL, but Clemson won the ACC championship. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, if I ain't mistaken, Clemson didn't do the NIL stuff. You know, they won the ACC. Miami paid $1 million plus for a quarterback and couldn't win the ACC. Of course, it's because of the piss poor defense, but I digress. But the whole problem is the development, the coaching staff actually doing the job that they are paid to do, vis-a-vis developing the talent. You get a 3-star recruit in, to me that means you have a mound of clay that can be molded and shaped into something that needs to be. Okay? There has been, to me, no development. And I hate to say this, and I know I'm going to piss some people off. I don't care what PFF says. I don't care what the CCC says. But the offensive line, yeah, exactly, Cuban. Exactly. The offensive line for Miami, from the Florida game until the Iowa State game, I didn't see any type of improvement. Didn't see it. Did not see it. With all the coaches we have for the offensive line, these coaches that put talent in the NFL, these offensive line gurus, not my words. You can look it up. Everybody else calls them offensive line gurus. Excuse me. But yet, Markel Bell still has not been taught any type of technique. And the thing that got my goat was somebody on the X, the Twitter, whatever, had put a post up about how Francis Mauigoa could be a first-round pick in the 2026 draft because he only allowed like one sack. Come on, man. Seriously? The stats may say he only allowed one sack, but if you watch the games last year, okay, it thank God for Cam. So Norman, I have a question. So the facilities were subpar for 20 years, but I have to ask this question. Why do the Miami players, football players that were in the NFL, why do they come back and work out at the university facilities at the athletic department? I'm not trying to get into whether they were this, that, or the other way. But you have players who went to the NFL come back and work out at Miami. Yes, they may not have been up. I mean, they may have been whatever. But, you know, they seem to be good enough for the 80s, early 90s, early 2000s. They seem to be okay. And I'm not picking on you, Norman. I'm asking questions. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing, Norman. You kind of proved my point. You kind of proved my point, Norman, in that today, 2025, all the luxuries that are awarded to the football team, they didn't have back in 2000. They didn't have them back in 95. They didn't have them back in 1990. They sure as hell didn't have them in 1980. Okay. But again, Norman, I'm not picking on you, Norm. Not picking on you, but you say that the facilities are still way short of Big Ten and SEC standards. I don't care. I don't care. Is it up to the standard that will provide sustained success for the players at the University of Miami? That's all I'm asking. Okay? Now, you know, again, Miami was successful with less. And honestly, truth be told, I'm tired. I'm sick and damn tired of everything that Miami has or doesn't have is compared to other conferences and other teams. I don't care. I don't care what other teams have. Okay, because let's take a look at the SEC. The majority of the SEC, save Vanderbilt, they are state-run schools. Okay. LSU, I'm 20 miles, 15 miles from LSU. And this is not a knock on LSU, so if the CEO is watching, I'm not knocking LSU. But LSU is a state-run university. Now, a lot of folks here in the great the state of Louisiana will say, well, the Tiger Athletic Fund pays for most of it. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. The coaching staff are considered state employees. Okay? And I'm not saying that to say I disagree or agree. I'm just letting you know. And that's probably true with every Florida state. Okay? Mississippi State, Tennessee. In other words, what I'm saying is, when you start talking about SEC, Big Ten, it's like apples and oranges. Miami is a private university. Okay? And to compare Miami's facilities or Miami's practice facility to an SEC is just, it's ludicrous. Because again, Miami was successful in the 80s and the early 90s and the early 2000s. You know? And I'm not living in the glory days. I'm not trying to be some old, you one of them old Canes fans living in the past. No. Truth is. But Norman says, not sure if this is the answer, but previous staff did not recruit size due to BOT being tight-fisted. We have a small O-line like John. The problem is, here's my thing. I'm not picking on you, Norm, but I'm going to say this, not picking on you. Miami gets the talent. They get the talent. Talent has not been an issue with Miami. The development of that talent has been the issue. Do I need to bring up 2008? Okay. 2008, the Young Bulls, you know. Randy Shannon brought in the #1 recruiting class. He brought in, help me out, Cuban, I want to say 7, 8, 9 of those young men from Northwestern down there in Miami. I think they missed out on 1 or 2. I'm not sure. You know. 9. Thank you, Cuban. Randy Shannon brought in the Young Bulls in 2008. #1 recruiting class. What happened? Yeah, you're right, Cuban. But still, everybody wants to talk about Miami can't get the talent. We don't have talented players. We don't have this. We don't have that. You know? But, exactly, Norm. Exactly. But yet, the coaching staff depends on the stars. You know, now, of course, Ja'Cory, Mr. Harris, he was thrown into, again, a no-win situation. You know, he was thrown out there as a freshman. Thought he did the best he could. I like Ja'Cory. Yes, Cuban. But, you know, and here's another thing. All right, so we talk about 2008 Ja'Cory Harris and stuff. But yet, Miami's going to bring in Cam Ward, pay him $1 million instead of trying to give Jakari Harris a chance to do his thing. 2025, they're going to pay Sid the Sloth, also known as, Carson Beck. They're going to pay him $4 million plus. $4 to come in and quarterback at Miami instead of trying to develop a 3-star Emory, Judd, etc. You look at Judd back in the Poop Tart Bowl last year. What the hell was this coaching staff doing with TVD? I mean TVD. With Emory. I see you, Cuban. You got me, TVD 2.0. Yes, but what kind of development it kind of reminds me of Jakari Brown in 2023 when he had to go into the Pinstripe Bowl. Hadn't played all season. He goes in the Pinstripe Bowl, and it's the same thing that happened last year. And as far as the Pop-Tart Bowl earlier this year, Cam ain't quit on the team. I guarantee you there was a protocol in place that Cam was going to play the first half, and then that was it, But again, no, 8 for 23, Mr. Emory was supposed to be the next greatest Ken Dorsey, Steve Walsh, insert whatever great quarterback there. But it looked like nobody taught him anything. Now, again, I know the coaches can't teach the young man how to throw the ball accurately to a receiver 10 yards down the field, but still, it's what the problem is, Cuban? Nobody works out during the spring break. That's the problem. If them guys were out there during spring break, they'd be a lot better. But unfortunately, nobody expects them to work out during the spring break. Oh, I'm horrible. But I got a feeling, Cuban. I got a feeling that it's definitely going to get started this season, because I'm telling y'all, and again, Norman, you're absolutely right, Norm. You are absolutely right. And the answer to why Emory wasn't developed is in that statement. The defense was so horrible. It was so horrible that in these games last season, Emory or whoever wasn't able to get any game time experience. That's all. And so Carson's coming. Carson's probably going to miraculously heal and be on the field this year. But what happens after this year? Do they bring another Porter quarterback in, or do they actually, do they actually develop Judd and Emory? I don't know. But I just, when I'm looking, when I see this 2024 season, I'm thinking to myself, if Miami had half the defense, this team could have they could have been very successful. Because let's face it, folks, when's the last time Miami had this type of potent offense? Finally get an offense that can click, but the defense keeps losing their shit. And Mario wants to micromanage everything, but what the hell happened with the defense, buddy? Know what I'm saying? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. But like I said, I just wanted to get on here and just kind of give you a little prequel to what's going to be happening this season. Uh, and to Israel, if you're still here, just want to let you know I thought it was funny that you made that video or you dropped it today, because I was very I've been kind of personally wrestling with the state of the U. All right. Now, if you want to sit there and watch the CCC, if you want to sit there and watch, the Locked On Canes, the Canes Insider, Canes U Talk, the Flow Network, everything is good. Everything is good. And I mean no disrespect to those individuals. I don't agree with their assessment, because first, the CCC is getting paid. They are getting their checks. They are making their money from the university. So they have to say good things. Even when the walls of Jericho are falling down, the CCC the Canes check cashers are going to say, well, there's still 3 bricks sitting right there. They didn't fall. And, I'm at the point where, are you not watching the game? Don't blow smoke up our ass. And, I know like Coach Hayes, Cuban's buddy, Coach Hayes. I know he's kind of like in the middle, but we in a couple of months, we're probably going to start approaching to that. I think Coach Hayes has his 8-hour takeover, whatever, of YouTube or whatnot, and I'm not trying to sound egotistical or presumptuous, but if I'm asked to be part of that pomp and circumstance, I'm just going to be real. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to have my 97 jersey on from 97. Just realize that. And like I said, it's about to get real. It's time for the coaching staff to shit or get off the pot. Okay? And, if I'm fortunate to be part of that takeover, so be it. But I've tried to be nice. I've tried not to upset anybody. I've tried. Oh, I'm going to put my flag up. I'm going to have my cup. I'm going to have my hat and my shirt, Cuban. I talked about this a couple of months ago, but, I fell into the trap of trying to keep everybody happy, and that was a mistake. What I tried to avoid, I fell into. But that's all right. I learned. And I know some people will be like, oh, yeah, That's South Coast Kane. He been hanging out with Cuban Kane too long. Cuban done influenced him. Cuban done got that man's head all messed up. No, 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 no. My head's been messed up long before Cuban came along. but what you got there, Norman? Cuban big things were expected from. I could share this, couldn't I? Yeah. Norman says Cuban big things were expected from Kiko. Addition of Barrow, Barron, Alderman was a non-contributor. Same for Diana Hill. The Mars attributes was. I'm gonna tell you what, and you can roast me. You can do whatever you want, but Kiko, the only reason why Kiko Malagoa was on the University of Miami football team is because Mario wanted his brother. Kiko Malagoa was probably one of the worst linebackers at the University of Miami. Straight up. He had 3 sacks the whole year. I'm just saying, no disrespect to him. I know he went to the Jets, but that's the kind of people the Jets like to have. But what I'm getting at is, yeah, Kiko made some plays, but he also he whiffed a lot of plays. Okay, yes. What's up, QB? You know, yeah, 2023 he was better, but he wasn't with Miami in 2023. You see what I'm getting at, Norman? I mean, when it comes to these players coming in via the transfer portal, that's why I don't care what you did last year. I don't care what you did the year before. What are you going to do this year for Miami? How are you going to make Miami's football team better? Okay, exactly, Cuban, but you're going way back with Flag. But anyway, the thing about Kiko was, yes, he had his moments. All right, yes. Kiko had the interception against Cal that sealed the victory because, let's face it, Cal was going down the field. And please don't make me relive that game. All right, but there was times when Kiko looked slow. There was times when he was out of position. You know, he had, like I said, he had 3 sacks as a linebacker in the defense. But, you know, I digress. Again, this is, when I talk about like a Kiko or Francisco on the line, it's nothing to do with the players. It has to do with the coaching and development, you know. It's like, why in the world did Guidry have Ruben Bain drop back in coverage? That young man should have had his ears pinned back and trying to take the quarterback's head off. I'm just saying. You know? But still football. It's still, the fundamentals are still true. You know? And, you know, that's a good statement, Cuban. Recruit the player for Lance's scheme, but here's the thing. Like right now, man, or Heatherman, he knows who he has on defense. Okay, Heatherman knows what kind of defense he would like to run. But in my opinion, a good coach will say, all right, I want to run this type of defense, but here's the type of players I have. I have 1 or 2 options. Either one, I coach and develop these players in order to run my scheme, or I take my scheme and try to mold it and, you know, make a derivative in order to match the talent and the type of players we have. Play to the player's strength. In other words, it's like a give and take. Same thing with the offense with Shannon Dawson. Okay. If Dawson wants to run a specific type of offense, cool. Oh, yeah, his players. But my thing is, you can shit in one hand and hope in the other and see which one fills up first. And what I mean is, if Dawson wants to run a specific type of offense, but yet he doesn't have the players that will be conducive to that offense he wants to run, well, you have one or two options. Either develop the players to fit your scheme, or find a middle ground. Make your scheme fit the strength of your players. That's all I'm saying. Defense. What type of blitz package do you put in? What kind of coverage package do you put in? What kind of man coverage? What kind of zone coverage? How do you take that man and zone coverage and, reference a relationship to your defensive line and what kind of pressure they put on? So if you're going to, say if you blitz, if you bring your 4 defensive linemen, have them pin their ears back and go after the quarterback, and you decide to bring in a couple of linebackers, how do you mold and shape your coverage in case it's a pass? And again, I'm no expert. Everything I learned came off of Walsh's college football on the Super Nintendo. Not Steve Walsh, but you know what I'm talking about. The old Super Nintendo, old Walsh's college football. That's been a long time. But that's where I got my football prowess from. All right. But again, it just seems common sense. If you're Shannon, all right, and you've been trying to work with, not Steve Walsh college football. I'm talking about the Bill Walsh. Billy Boy from San Francisco. Bill Walsh college football. That's where I learned my offensive and defensive prowess. But anyway, like with Shannon Dawson, if Shannon Dawson wants to run a specific type of offense, that's where he needs to consult with Mirabel and the likes. Okay? Look, I want to start running this type of formation with this type of movement. So, Mirabel, you need to get on your high horse so you can see eye to eye with everybody and get this offensive line straight. But unfortunately, since Mirabel is Mario's boy, Mirabel is going to call the shots. I'm just saying, when you have the head coach and the offensive line coach been together since, I don't know, high school, then, Shannon's going to ask permission from Mirabel. Hey, can we do this? And here's my thing. Here's the way I see it. Again, this is just my opinion. Take it or leave it. But in the hierarchy, Mario is the head coach, as we all know. Okay, exactly, Nora. Mario is the head coach. Dawson has the offense. Heatherman has the defense. Correct? Now, underneath that, Mirabel and Merritt and all them cats answer to Dawson. But we all know who Mirabel answers to. You see where I'm getting at? I know Mario and Mirabel were high school chums at Columbus. But that's why this epitomizes why you should not hire family or homeboys. I'm going back. You don't hire your buddies when you're trying to run a business. Okay? You want business people running the business, not your family, not your buddies, unless your buddy graduated with a business degree. So basically, the disconnect on the offense is Mario has his lifelong buddy, his BFF, Mirabel. And if you exactly, Norman, I believe Cuban, correct me if I'm wrong, QB, correct me if I'm wrong, but I made the comment last season that Mirabel is Mario's D'Onofrio. Okay? Exactly, Norm. If Golden did not have D'Onofrio, y'all gonna laugh at me, but Golden could have done some stuff if he didn't have D'Onofrio. I'm just saying, go look at the stuff. Go look at the history. You know? Oh, but I digress. So, you know, something's got to happen. Something has got to happen. And you know, with the thank you, Cuban. Something has got to happen. In other words, all right, you're bringing all these guys in through the portal. Cool. All right, I was told last year we had depth. Now I'm being told they have to build depth. And if you notice, pay attention. Every year in the spring, they have to build depth. I'm just saying, pay attention. And why do they have to build depth? Because all the recruits that they had transferred out. And the question you have to ask is, why did Miami lose 4 out of 10 high school recruits every year between 2022 and 2024? That's the issue. That's what you have to ask. Why did they lose them? You know. But I'm sure that, you know, the next recruiting class will be top 10, and everybody will be back on the Mario is an elite recruiter bandwagon. Even though, in closing, because I've been talking a lot longer than I anticipated, in closing, something for you to think about. If the head coach of the University of Miami football program, who happens to be Mario, is an elite recruiter, how come? Let me know how come, if it had not been for Cam Ward, a transfer portal quarterback, 1 year, if Mario, the head coach of University of Miami football, who happens to be Mario, if he is an elite recruiter, how come if Cam Ward did not transfer to Miami, Miami probably would have only won 7 games in year 3? Year 4. This is year 4. We're going into year 4 of the head coach's regime, which happens to be Mario. In other words, those 2022 recruits in which, yes, Manny was fired in like mid-December. Mario was hired late December. But those recruits still kept their commitment and came to Miami. So those cats, those young men from 2022's recruiting class, they would be either redshirt juniors or seniors this 2025 season. But they're not. They all left. They went to SMU, Rhett Lashlee. So, like I said, the questions that need to be asked is, why are those high school recruits leaving? Why did 4 out of 10 recruits in 3 or 4 seasons, why'd they leave? You know, that's all I'm saying. We're supposed to build depth, okay? But yet you got recruits, 4 out of 10 recruits every year are leaving. And you got to turn around and get a 1 or 2 year NIL person. And then I'd be willing to guarantee that this time next year, the young men who came in through the 2025 class, you'll have 4 or 5 of them transfer out. But don't forget, Mario put, Panay and Nix in the NFL. And if that's what you tell yourself at night, that's fine. But in my opinion, I could give a rat's ass about what Mario did at Oregon. I don't care what he did at Alabama. I don't care what he did at Florida International. Hell, I don't care what he did on the offensive line at Miami in the early 90s. I don't care. Okay? What does that have to do, and how does that transpose to sustain success on the playing field on game day at the University of Miami? Everybody's quick to give you the facts on the history of a head coach. But when you ask them, well, why did Miami blow a 20-point lead to Syracuse? Those same people that'll give you the facts of the history of the head coach will say, yeah. They have no answer. But they will give you the elaborate history of the head coach before he came to Miami. Norman says, I think the focus was winning games via portal players. Some of the 2022 recruits knew PT was going to be limited. But that may be. And again, 2022, I can kind of give a little leeway because you're going from the Manny regime to the Mario regime. And when you got the fired coach, resigned coach, and then you have the incoming coach, you kind of have a little situation, a little turbulence, a little turnover. You have that. Okay? But still, those guys that signed in the 2022 class still stuck with their commitment. Even though Manny left in December, late December, mid-December, and then Mario came in at the end of December. So there was like a 2-week to 18-day window between the two coaches, but those 22 recruits still came to Miami. Now, if the head coach at the time of the 2022 season, which happened to be Mario, if he has a problem with those recruits being recruited by the previous administration, well, that's on him. Okay. You know, and here's the thing about the portal. In my opinion, now there was a wise man. A wise man said, it's probably been about a year or two now. He said that players should only enter the transfer portal if the head coach is no longer the head coach at that school. And honestly, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I believe that the transfer portal should be used to fill the vacancies or the holes that the high school recruiting doesn't fill. But unfortunately, the transfer portal allows lazy coaches to be lazy. It justifies their laziness. In other words, coaches that rely on the transfer portal do not have to develop and transform and teach young high school recruits. They can be lazy, bring in the transfer portal players, and they don't have to do anything. So what I'm getting at, and I'm pretty sure I'll be lambasted for it, but I don't care. Nobody's paying me. I have a job. I'm getting a paycheck from my job, not this place. But the transfer portal is being it's being perverted for coaches who don't want to coach. Straight up. Because I said this, but I'm going to say it again. Miami did not need Cam Ward. Miami did not need a portal quarterback at the beginning of last season. You had Ja'Carri Brown. Straight up. Why didn't you develop Ja'Carri Brown? Oh, was it because it was Diaz's recruit? You know? It was the other guy's kid and you didn't want to take care of him? Is it because Ja'Carri went on that Momentum podcast and spoke the truth rather respectfully, and it pissed you off because the light had been shed on the darkness? I don't know. Why did Miami get Carson Beck through the transfer portal? Is it because the offensive coaching staff was too lazy to develop Emory, Judd? I don't know. Because obviously in 2024, Emory gets in the Pop-Tarts Bowl and looks like crap. Like, what the frack has happened? Tell you what's happened. The 2024 Miami coaching staff got lazy and put all their eggs in Cameron's basket. They figured Cam, was going to bring Miami to the promised land based on his talent, and they were not going to have to do anything. Just sit back and let it ride. That's what happened. Coaching staff got lazy, just like Larry Coker did in the early 2000s. when Coker the Choker, when he I say Coker the Choker because when he was offensive coordinator under Butch or whatever, Coker the Choker, he takes the reins. Yeah, Coker got lucky. Coker didn't do a damn thing for the 2001 team. Coker ain't do a damn thing for the 2002 team. That 2001 team and 2002 team would have done the same exact thing regardless of who the head coach was. You could have put Mario as the head coach. You could have put Shannon, Golden, Rick, Butch. You could have put anybody there. You'd have got the same result. Yeah, Coker was okay at offensive coordinator. That's why they called him Coker the Choker, because he was okay as OC, but, it is what it is. Okay? You say what you want about Butch. Okay? Say what you want about Butch Davis. But what Butch did in the mid-90s until 2000, he did more in that time period, 3-4 years, than any coach has done since. I'm just saying. If you don't believe me, go back and look at the history books. Because believe it or not, Miami played football before 2001. Oh, let me wasabi it, because I'm about to get upset, because I consider the mid to late 90s the dark ages. And what we're seeing now, I'm telling you, right? What we're seeing right now is because of lazy, inept coaching. Straight up, it's lazy, inept, dysfunctional coaching. Reason why I say that, just go beyond 2001 in the history books and you see what I'm talking about. Everybody wants to get excited because the head coach, who happens to be Mario Cristobal right now, okay, facts, straight facts. Mario was an offensive lineman for Miami in the early 90s. He was part of the 91 championship team. Okay, cool. Then he did a couple little stints. Then he went to FIU as a head coach. I think he won like 3 games in 10 years. All right. He ends up at Alabama as an offensive line coach. Not offensive coordinator. Offensive line coach. And let me tell you something about Alabama while he was there. That was during Nick Saban's heyday. Plus, you got to realize, all them rednecks in Alabama, they've been waiting for the next second coming of Bear Bryant since Bear Bryant left. And I can say it because I know. When Bear Bryant left Alabama, he died, he resigned from Alabama, there was turmoil in the trailer park. Yes, there was. And then Nick Saban shows up because He left Michigan State, went to LSU, ducked out of LSU, went to the Dolphins, couldn't do it at the Dolphins, so he said, hey, I'm going to the Alabama. They got all the rednecks happy in the trailer park. And I can say that because I know. Mario was the offensive line coach. He was a Maribel. He was never an offensive coordinator. He was a head coach at FIU. FIU. So Mario has the head coach of Miami right now, has no offensive coordinating experience. He has no defensive coordinating experience. Now, you're thinking to yourself, oh, this crazy old white bastard, he just a Mario hater. No, I'm telling you the facts. Most of your successful your head coaches have had either offensive coordinator status and or defensive coordinator status. But no, Mario was an offensive line coach at Alabama, then went to Oregon and was a head coach. Yeah, Penei Sewell went to the NFL. Bo Nix went to the NFL. But that's two people. How many championships did Oregon win? How many Pac-12 or Pac whatever the hell they were? How many championships did he win? I know Utah and that little long-haired, scrumpy white boy thwarted a lot of it. And here we are at Miami, 2025. He is the head coach. And as the head coach, what has he done different in the last 20 years? But he's brought in the top recruiting classes. He has brought in all these transfer portal players. He brought Cam Ward in. True. True. How many ACC titles has he won since he's been here? I'll give you a moment to think about it. That's right, none. How many ACC championship appearances, championship game appearances has he made? I'll give you a second. None. He has as many appearances as Coker, Golden, Shannon, and Diaz. I would throw Golden in there, but it was self-imposed. So, with respect to Golden and that team and those players, they had a chance to go, but they self-imposed. So what's the difference between Mario and Shannon, Randy Shannon? Other than the color of the skin that they were blessed with at birth. That's the only difference. Other than that, what is the difference between Randy Shannon and Mario Cristobal? In regards to the success of the University of Miami football program. None. But Mario won 10 games last year. All right, cool. Well, what did that 10-2 season get you? A bowl game. I know Mario can speak the Spanish, but I haven't seen him do anything as a head coach other than come up with some good talking points. How you do everything is how you do anything is how you do everything. Biggest downfall was not embracing this. But again, and you're right, Norman, you're right. But what I'm getting at is what has changed? Nothing has changed. Okay? It doesn't matter who the coach is. It doesn't matter what credentials that coach has. It doesn't matter what what the rankings of the recruiting classes are of that head coach. It doesn't matter. Only thing that matters is one thing. Just win, baby. That'll make Shad happy, But nobody has won the ACC since 2004 when Miami went to the ACC. So everything that we say, okay, we can talk about, not picking on you, Norman, I'm just saying. You can talk about Coker's downfalls. You can talk about Shannon's issues, Golden's issues. You can talk about Rick's issues, Diaz. You can talk about all the issues. You can talk about all the outside forces. You could talk about all the variables in the equation. You can say whatever you want to say. But the fact of the matter is, not one has won the ACC championship. Not one. And that's what it all boils down to. Everything else is just whatever. You know what I'm saying? And this talk about Manny recruits versus Mario recruits, and Golden recruits versus Shannon recruits versus Rick recruits, and what this coach was left with, and the facilities that this coach had to deal with, and the indoor practice field didn't have the proper turf for this team, and it's all bullshit. It's all excuses. It's all talking points to validate and justify mediocrity. It is. Straight up. Everything we say, whatever reason we come up with, be it facilities, be it recruits, be it the pay, be it the facilities again, be it the NIL, be it's a different time in college football. These players are different. Whatever you come up with, the fact of the matter is Miami has not won the ACC championship game in 21 years. Again, for those in the back, I'm going to back up a little bit more. Miami has not won the ACC championship in 21 years. Plain and simple. No excuses. I don't care what you say. I don't care if the dog ate your damn homework. I don't care. I don't care if it was a COVID year. I don't care if the facilities weren't as good. The fact of the matter is, there has not been an ACC championship since 2004 when Miami joined the conference. If you want to make yourself feel better as a person and come up with all, I don't know why I got this in my ear, shit. If you want to make yourself feel better, you want to come up with all these reasons, if you want to come up with all these situations, fine, cool, okay, cool. Whatever makes you feel better as a person. I'm not here to judge you on what you think. I'm just telling you what I think. Norman says, for 20 years, the program was stewing in mediocrity. To reverse the fortune, it's no easy task. Mario has to correct it. This again, Norman, you can say that you can substitute Mario with Shannon and Manny with Coker. You can substitute Mario with Shannon and Manny with Golden. You can substitute the Mario with Golden and put Rick. You see where I'm going? Okay? You see where I'm going? This, again, I'm not picking on you, Norman. I'm not picking on you. I'm not trying to be insulting. But again, it's simple. It's simple. What Norman's saying, and I'm going to use you as an example, Norman. I have seen that for 20 years. Just change out the coaching names. Plus, something nobody has really been talking about is the culture. Culture. Remember that culture? You know, Randy Shannon's going to change the culture. Al Golden's going to change the culture. Okay? Mark Richt, he's going to change the culture. Well, Manny has the keys. I mean, I know Golden had the 5 pillars of success to change the culture, but Manny is going to change the culture because he knows South Florida. He is South Florida. Mario is the chosen one. He played in Miami. He knows the Miami culture. Mario's going to come in. He knows. He played on championship teams. He knows the winning culture. Somebody tell me when I'm wrong. I'm not trying to be right, but that's what I've heard. And Norman, again, please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not picking on you, but I've heard the same thing. Okay, I've the undisciplinary actions, the culture, that I've been hearing about the discipline, the culture, dude. Every year, it's like every coach. It is what it is. Oh, and again, but I'm just using Manny as the coach, the head coach. I'm just talking about head coaches who happen to be Manny, Mario, Rick, Golden, Shannon, Coker, etc. Well, let's face facts, people. I know I didn't anticipate this being a 2. I just got to get on here, tell Israel thank you, appreciate the kind words. I understand how you feeling, but here we're 2 hours in, and I'm going deep. No Diddy. But again, QB, I don't know. But here's the thing. That question has been asked again, again, again. Hey, have a good evening, Norm. QB, I've heard the same thing about how long does it take for Randy Shannon to correct Coker's issues? How long does it take Golden to correct Randy? You see where I'm getting at? I'm not dismissing your question. I'm not dismissing your statement, but do you see where I'm getting at? We've been asking these same questions every time a new coaching regime comes in. Every time. You know? And honestly, QB, not picking on you, but this is year 4 for Mario. I don't know. I don't care. You know, good question. Good question. You know, but I'm at the point right now. Okay, I'm at the point at on February 27th, 2025. I'm at the point where I don't care. Win the ACC. Okay. Let's crawl before we walk. Let's win the ACC. Let's win the national championship. Okay. And how do we do it? I don't know. That's why they pay Mario $8 million a year to do that. But what I'm getting at is all these statements, all these questions, all this talk, it's the same thing every year. But the fact of the matter is Miami has not won the ACC championship in football since 2004 when they joined. That's the first ultimate goal, is to win the ACC championship. And then we move on to bigger and better things. Now, if they just come out and win the championship, the national championship, that's cool too. But what I'm saying is, how many times has Miami won the Coastal in 20 years? They won it twice. Once they had to self-impose. So officially, once the Coastal, the ACC Coastal Division. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I've had too many sips on this cup today. But do y'all not see the issue? For so long, Miami could not win the Coastal. Couldn't beat Georgia Tech. Okay? But again, it's just my opinion, my thoughts, my theories, my philosophies. I'm not trying to influence anybody. I'm not trying to argue with anybody. If Norman feels a certain way, if QB feels a certain way, if Katie feels a certain way, if Cuban feels a certain, that's cool. But let's not forget. Let's remember, we're trying to win the ACC championship and ultimately the national championship. And we have done neither in a long time. But anyway, that's really all I got. I did not plan on this going 2 hours. I just wanted to get on here and give Israel his props and give him my gratitude and appreciation for the kind words. Very kind. But I understand where you're coming from, Israel. I know where you're coming from. And whatever you do, do it. Whatever's good for you and yours, do it. You know, and honestly, I've thought about jumping off the wagon many decades, but I'm still here. I'm committed, but that doesn't make me any better than anybody else. I'm just doing what I do. But anyway, yeah, we may continue this, and I may get a little more in depth and go further down the rabbit hole. I may do it tomorrow night, may do it Thursday night. I don't know. We'll see. But other than that, thank y'all for putting up with me and my ranting. Hopefully I haven't been too crazy. Hopefully I've made a little sense. But other than that, thank y'all for coming out. Norman, QB, Cuban, Israel, thank y'all so much. Peace, love, and soul. Let's go, Canes. We're going to catch y'all next time. Bye.